Shalom. Shalom. I want to give all praises to the one true power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Yahweh is the Most High God, and Yahushai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ, and the Rakakwadash is the Holy Spirit, in the Paleo Hebrew. And double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who rule well through the Spirit, teaching this word and believing this word. Lord willing, they can continue to endure and be sincere. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching this word and believing this word in the same spirit. Lord willing, they can continue to endure and be sincere. And shalom to the Akwathium that are believers of the faith. Lord willing, they can continue to pursue their lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. You see what's on the screen? How I sleep at night knowing Babylon is falling. You know, the children is waking up. They're hearing that song, the cock-a-doodle-doo in the morning. But literally, they're hearing the song daily because the Lord put it on the men of the Lord to daily teach his sheep, daily teach his flock. We're going to read some verses in the KJV and the NLT so that we can continue to sleep knowing and believing these prophecies is going to be fulfilled. It's going to happen. Lord willing, I'm not going to make it too long, but we're going to stay on the point. Some things I'm going to clear up in things in history, right? And some things that happen in history is going to play out in the modern time because the ones that's ruling now, their kingdom and their mindset is like Egypt, like the Assyrians, right? Just like the Greeks, like the Romans, right? And the Babylonians, right? But all the wicked kingdoms, you can just sum it up into this rulership now. Four corners of the earth, this wicked nation is ruling under the nation of Esau, who is the head of the round table when we look at Psalms 83. So let's get into it. The first verse we're going to go into is Psalms 137, verse 8 and 9. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Right? And this is a song of Zion from verse 1 to 8. I'm going to read verse 8. This is a Song of Zion, verse 1 to 9. Salaki, correction. So I'm going to read verse 8 and 9 again. O daughter of Babylon. Ancient Babylon was not daughter Babylon. This is talking about the new age of Babylon, which is the daughter, which is America. Daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Right? Babylon was conquered. Right? It was Babylon. Then you had Babylon, Assyria, right? Eventually, because you got to understand the area that was ruling, right? And then the Persian Medes, their kings took over, and it was the Persian Medes Empire, right? First, I think they were set apart, Persia and then the Medes, and then the king brought them together. And then you had the Greek captivity, and they ruled a mass of the same lands that the Persian Medes and the Babylonians had, plus more, because Alexander was venturous and he was traveling to conquer other lands, right? And then Rome did the same, and they conquered those same lands and ruled a little more. And now we're under that little horn, right, that was connected with 7 horns or 7 heads, Salaki, and 10 horns, which goes into the NATO and EU, right? And it grew up to be just like Rome, right? But literally, it's the daughter of Babylon. This is mystery Babylon. So, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us, right? The Heavenly Father, right, through his son Yahushua, is going to be happy to reward destruction on Babylon, right? And even the children of the Lord now is praying and desiring that while they're occupied and being patient in the Lord's ministry. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones, because they was happy dashing us to the stone. They was happy feeding our babies to alligators, right? The same spirit might just be a different trend, right? Dashing the babies to the stone, hanging your baby, your infant on a tree in a Greek captivity if the son was circumcised, or if they was doing their feast days, or if they was calling themselves an Israelite, you would be hung, put to death, right? And what Rome would do, they would crucify you. And it was a mockery, right? In America, they did the same thing, right? In advance. Start making your babies gator bait. Throwing you while we are on our way here, the sick and the weak, just to make room, or because of the smell, they'll push you right over the boat. You're gator food. We have to remember these verses. It's not all peaches and cream, right? So we can go to Isaiah, the 13th chapter, and I'm going to read verse 1 to 6. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read it both ways, KJV then the NLT, right? Because there's certain words I want to make it plain. It says in the KJV, it says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Right? This is a vision of his, right? It says, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones from my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. Even the Lord Yahweh in the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Let's read this again in the NLT. It says, Isaiah, son of Amos, received this message concerning the destruction of Babylon. Raise a signal flag on a bare hilltop. Call up an army against Babylon. Wave your hand to encourage them as they march into the palaces of the high and mighty. I, the Lord Yahweh, have dedicated these soldiers for this task. Yes, I have called mighty warriors to express my anger, and they will rejoice when I am exalted. Hear the noise on the mountains. Listen as the vast armies march. It is the noise and shouting of many nations. The Lord Yahweh of heaven's armies has called this army together. They come from distant countries, from beyond the furthest horizon. They are the Lord's weapons to carry out his anger. With them, he will destroy the whole land. Scream in terror, for the day of the Lord Yahweh has arrived, the time of the Almighty to destroy, right? And this is not going to be a war of sticks and spears and arrows. It's an upgrade, because now Esau is leading with his blessing, the sword. And this mass army is going to be an army of 200 million, right? missiles that can literally destroy this, right? You're gonna have missiles carrying warheads, multiple warheads. Let's just get a side precept, if we may. Isaiah chapter 54, and I believe verse 16. I'm going to start at 15. It says, behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. Right? The smith is the blacksmith that forge metal. So this is a man, literally starting with the nation of Teman, because those were the wise one in the form of engineering, especially for this type of weapon. Especially when we come into when you go into World War I, World War II, even America got, secret Nazis and people of other countries, but really people of the nation of Teman, right, to work on the destructive weapons, right? Smoke gas, grenades, bombs, right? This is up Esau's league, right? Then you keep going. So we got the blacksmith, right? It says, in that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. So what is the instrument for his work? And I have created the waster to destroy. It was the Lord that put in the Esau to make this nuke. But it was really the Heavenly Father, right? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, because he is the architect of all of this. This is the Lord's end game for Esau's end of his movie, of his role. Now, just for y'all reading it in NLT. And anything that I'm reading, you can go read for yourself in both translations. Isaiah 54 verse 16 in the NLT. I have created the blacksmith who fans the coils beneath the forge. If you can go look those up, of blacksmith using the little joint at the bottom of where the oven is at to make the fire hot, right? The coals beneath the forge and make the weapons of destruction. And I have created the armies that destroy. Just like, as an example, you watch the movie Thorn. Then that man wasn't he a blacksmith? Didn't he have to do something in order to make Thorn's new hammer, right? But he used, I think, the fire of a star or the sun, and only Thorn was able to, endure that, right? But you have other examples. You can go in Spartacus. You can go into old Roman movies, the movie 300. That is a form of a smith, right? You could definitely see it in Spartacus. I don't know. I think it's like the last season. And you could see a dude that was living in Rome. He was forging weapons for Rome, right? But it was all the Lord that created that person and used that person to create this, but it was all the Lord. Let me get one more, right? And I'll just read this one in the KJV. See, the sound effect closed. Dang. I had my mind on a different one now. It kind of left me. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39, and verse 21. A man need not to say, what is this? Wherefore it is, for he have made all things for their uses, right? Everything was made for their uses. In the GNT, everything created was made for their purpose, right? So Esau was created to be a weapon, right? Let alone he was blessed with the sword. Jake, you was created for your purpose, right? Your purpose was to be the head of all nations. But your other purpose was to fall away from that. And the Lord was just going to do what he did in old times, in Noah's time, Lot time, right? He's going to use a few to bring back the nation. So he's doing the elect. In you other nations, you had your purpose too. Guess what? You got to sit in the round table with Esau, right? And so on and so on. So now, let's go back to Isaiah. And let's go to chapter 47 and verse 1 in the KJV. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." A virgin is somebody that wasn't touched, right? Babylon was touched in past wars in their own land. That's why eventually it got conquered, right? And the Persian Medes took that over. America hasn't got touched to be conquered. Like you see the movie in The Red Dawn, where the Koreans, I believe, they came over here and they touched this land. Nobody touched this land, right? And if it ever came, it was America bullying somewhere else, and that's where we got touched, but our own land didn't get touched. This is that virgin daughter Babylon that we're even going into in Psalms 137. It says, "Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." And I said earlier in the video, Esau, or this kingdom, is a symbol to all other kingdoms, right? So who was ruling technically in a ruling position? The Chaldeans. So they're the new Chaldeans. They're the new pharaohs. They're the new emperors, right? They're the new kings. A president is a king. Well, he's a lower king. The high kings is the ones that tell you your money and change the currency, right? But the president is a little king. The people in Congress or Senate, they are in a ruler, a lower level, but they are in a ruling position. And it's the same what happened in Rome. We got it in the Greeks, where the Greeks made a Senate. The Rome made a Senate. But Rome was church and state. America is church and state, right? So we're based in prophecies, right? Let's go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. And verse 15, but I think I'm going to start at I'm going to start at 13. This is Jeremiah 15, verse 13. It says, "Because of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited." Right? In the old Babylon, ancient Babylon, it's people keeping shop over there. People moving all through those areas. Right? But this is talking about this daughter Babylon, this virgin Babylon that hasn't been touched, which is America. So if you have the spiritual eyes to see, the spiritual ears to actually be guided in the scriptures, listen and then go look up the scriptures yourself. But if you don't really know if America is Rome 2.0, America is the daughter of Babylon, right? America is the example of Egypt in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. If you can't see that, then before you start speaking and trying to cut it and trying to contradict it, you need to restudy again, right? You probably haven't read through too much of history or prophecy too much, or you haven't been guided enough to see it and get it so that you can have the precepts and look it up. So it's better that you be fast to listen. So again, Jeremiah 15, verse 3, "Because of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wildly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord Yahweh. Shout against her round about. She have given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her as she have done. Do unto her. She's going to get the double cup. Right? And that just goes with Revelations 18:6. Because Revelations 18 goes into the destruction of Babylon. Right? So I'm going to start at verse 4. This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. Right? And that ye receive not of her plagues. Right? Come out of her spiritually and mentally. Right? So that when Yahweh shall come, that we'll physically get saved from this near trouble. Right? That's how we come out of her. Right? By listening to this word, by believing in this word. Right? By yielding. Right? Yielding to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? Because you got to have faith first. To hear this word, you got to have faith. Right? If you believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, like for anybody else, there's so many people that say that they believe in the Lord, but their actions don't show. Their actions don't show. You know? Yeah, when you start to believe in the Lord, you grow in a spiritual stature. Right? Your faith grows. Your conversations is of the Lord. Right? You're hearing the men of the Lord teach. And if you are a man, you're going to try to some way be around other men of the Lord. This is not just about being an individual in this thing. If you have a chance, to sharpen yourself, to be held accountable so that you're not going off, right? The Lord is giving us this warning because he's going to destroy this place, right? So we must come out of here spiritually and mentally, so that when Yahweh shall arrive, we can physically be delivered, talking to the elect. Verse 5, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities. It's just like Genesis, the 6th chapter. In that time, the wickedness of the world reached unto the heavens, right? And Esau's wickedness, even with Babylon itself, with all the nations here, in Israel, you freaking 2/3, your sins is reaching unto the heavens. We're almost there, man. This is why we have to desire this, right? Because when the Lord comes, it's going to be a cleansing, right? With this destruction is a cleansing, right? So verse 6, it says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she filled to her double, right? And this place is going to get double. But let's just talk for a minute. The ones that's orchestrating how America's supposed to be ran, they're going to get the double, right? So I'm about to read some quotes on my end. I'm not going to share it on the screen. Maybe in another lesson or another video, we'll get to that, But I'm going to read a few quotes from some of these demons, right? You got one from John D. Rockefeller. He said, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. Even more, if you're not thinking, you won't be prepared for what's to come. So let's read another quote from this guy. John D. Rockefeller created the General Education Board, the GEB, in 1903, go look it up, to dispense Rockefeller funds to education. We are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the New World Order. Signed, David Rockefeller. This is what they want to bring forth their MOTB. Because in order to have a new order, you got to get rid of the old order, right? I got something else here. I don't know, did I save the picture? Yes, I did. This is by Nathan Rothschild. I care not what puppet is placed upon the throne of England to rule the empire on which the sun never sets. The man who controls Britain's money supply controls the British Empire, and I control the British money supply, right? That is the high up, right? Those are the ones that's going to get double. It's going to be the land, and it's going to be the people that orchestrate these laws, these rules, right? The ones that usher in the Democrat and the Republican Party. They're going to get a double hand by the Heavenly Father. Right? Even more, because just going with the land, and this really goes into 2/3 too. Revelations chapter 14, I would say verse 9 and 10, but I'm going to read 10. It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. When you go to verse 9, whoever worship, you know what? Let me just go to it. Salaki family, Revelations 14 and 9. Right? Because it's really just going back to show whoever takes the MOTB in the nation of Israel. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in their hand, the same shall drink of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into a cup of its indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. So whoever the Lord leaves behind, as in those ones that are the elite, because the elites don't really live here. So the ones that probably was in a high seat, the Lord might preserve them for that lake of fire over here. 2/3 is totally destroyed, but the top elites are going to be hitting away. So this is a double portion for the land and for some people that was in a high seat position, especially celebrities and shit. But the higher ups, even more, the double they're going to get, that we see in Revelations, the 18th chapter, verse 6, give double unto her. We go over to Revelations, the 13th chapter, verse 9 and 10. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. And he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. That's the double portion, right? If you're not getting destroyed by these nukes, right, you're gonna see your little kingdom that you had on this side be destroyed. Ain't no coming back up and thinking you about to make a new foundation. No, it's gonna be destroyed. Then when we come find you, Jeremiah 16:16, guess what? Those the ones that was leading to captivity, we're gonna know who you are, because we're gonna have glorified bodies. We're gonna know who you are. From your past, we're gonna know who the hell you is and who you descend from. And guess what? And if you are part of the chain of that captivity, really the Rothschilds, they play a major part in it. You know, it's many books that show it. They want to hide it, but it's one book, How White Folks Got Rich. It shows you that they made a vast amount of their money from the slave trade in the cotton trade, right? So there's a lot of their family members and so many more that's gonna have a taste of slavery, and some of them gonna have a taste of the sword because they live by the sword. Just imagine the ones that live by making these nukes, making other diseases, which is another sword. Guess what? They're gonna die by sword. They're gonna, man, I'm telling you. This is why we sleep good on this side, because we know what's coming to you, mother suckers. Right? So I'm going to read another one. I'm going to go to 2 Kings. Chapter 8. Salaki family. So 2 Kings chapter 8. And we're going to read from verse 7 to 13. Because you seen when we was in Psalms 137 verse 9, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Well, in history, this happened. And I'm already showing other nations where Esau, other nations did things too. But I'm going to give you a count where we can even see where it even take place. Right? With this guy that becomes king, Hazael, a king over a man that becomes king of Syria. So this is 2 Kings chapter 8, starting at verse 7. It says, and Elisha came to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, was sick. And it was told him, saying, the man of God is come hither. And the king said unto Hazael, take a present in thy hand, and go and meet the man of God, and inquire of the Lord Yahweh by him. Right? Inquire a message from the Lord by him, saying, shall I recover of this disease? So Hazael went to meet him and took a present with him, even of every good thing of Damascus, 40 camels burden, and came and stood before him and said, thy son Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, have sent me to thee, saying, shall I recover of this disease? And Elisha said unto him, go, say unto him, thou mayest certainly recover, howbeit the Lord Yahweh have showed me that he shall surely die. And he settled his countenance standfastly until he was ashamed. And the man of God wept. And Hazael said, why weepeth my Lord? And he answered, because I know the evil that thou wilt do unto the children of Israel. Their strongholds wilt thou set on fire, and their young men wilt thou slay with the sword, and will dash their children and rip up their women with child. Right? In the NLT, that verse says, what's the matter, my Lord? Hazael asked him. Elisha replied, I know the terrible things you will do to the people of Israel. You will burn their fortified cities, kill their young men with the sword, dash their little children to the ground, and rip open their pregnant women. Right? In the KJV verse 13, and Hazael said, but what is thy servant, a dog, that he should do this great thing? And Elisha answered, the Lord Yahweh hath showed me that thou shalt be king over Syria. Right? The Lord gave him this vision. And guess what? Whenever the Lord say anything, it comes to pass. When you go back to 1 Kings 22 verse 14, every prophet was moving off of this notion. But this is Micaiah. In verse 14, I'm going to start at 13. It says, and the messenger that was going to call Micaiah spake unto him, saying, behold, now the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good. Right? So somebody trying to command him to, hey, you make your words sound just like them. But let's see what he says. Verse 14, and Micaiah said, as the Lord Yahweh liveth, what the Lord Yahweh saith unto me, that will I speak. So we must speak the truth, right? You must speak the truth, right? James 3:1 in the NLT. Dear brothers and sisters, not many of you should become teachers in the church, for we who teach will be judged more strictly. That's why everybody shouldn't desire to teach or prophesy or be a so-called prophet. Because if you out here to please men, you're going to be teaching falsely. And guess what? You have been marked. You have to take this serious. And even when you go, I think the 10th chapter, when you go to 2 Kings, was it the 10th chapter? No. When you go to 2 Kings, the 13th chapter, the 13th chapter is when King Jehoahaz reigned, right? And in that time, or when you go to verse 22, I'm just getting it real quick. It says, but Hazael, king of Syria, oppressed Israel all the days of King Jehoahaz. Right? That was the king of Israel, right? And I believe that was the northern kingdom, right? Let me see. No. Yes. Jehoahaz was king of Israel. I'm going to read it. 2 Kings chapter 13, verse 1. In the 23rd year of Joash, the son of Haziah, the king of Judah, Jehoahaz, the son of Jehud, began to reign over Israel in Samaria, and reigned 17 years, right? So he was part of the northern kingdom, right? And he reigned the northern kingdom, and this guy that got into position, Hazael, he ruled over, and what did he do? He did exactly what Elisha said he would do. Right? Let me see if I can get something on the side. What was that again? 2 Kings, the 8th chapter. Let me see. Look, this is 2 Kings chapter 10, verse 32 to 33. It says, in those days, the Lord Yahweh began to cut Israel short, and Hazael smote them in all the coast of Israel, from Jordan eastward, all the land of Gilead, and the Gadites, and the Reubenites, and the Manassites, from Aroer, which is by the river of Arnon, even Gilead and Bashan, right? So you got to think, if that's in that time, what spirit is on the wicked nation that's ruling now, right? When you go to 2 Kings 13, verse 3, it says, the anger of the Lord Yahweh was kindled against Israel, right? So the Lord used Hazael, right? Because the Lord's anger was kindled against us, and he delivered them into the hand of Hazael, king of Assyria. So the Lord really put the northern kingdom in the hands of King Hazael, and into the hand of Ben-Hadad, the son of Hazael, all their days. Dropping down to verse 7, neither did he leave of the people to Jehoahaz, but 50 horsemen and 10 chariots and 10,000 footmen, for the king of Syria had destroyed them and had made them like the dust by thrusting, right? And did not Elisha tell him that he was going to do these things? He said, man, how? Right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 13, verse 16, and I'll read verse 18. It says, their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Dropping on 18, their bowels also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children, right? But even when you sum this really up, this is when Isaiah was having that prophetic vision, dream thought of Babylon, right? And Babylon is not Israel, right? But you're gonna have 2/3 in this place that's gonna get it terrible, especially in Jacob's trouble, right? But really, Esau, this is really gonna hit you and your woman, right? So I'm gonna read those 2 verses. I'm gonna read start at, this is Isaiah 13 verse 13 NLT. It says, for I will shake the heavens, the earth will move from its place. Why? Because of the missiles, right? This is the end time problem. The missiles is going to shake the earth. And when the Lord Yahweh of heaven's army display his wrath in the day of his fierce anger, everyone in Babylon will run about like a hunted gazelle, like sheep without a shepherd. They will try to find their own people and flee to their own land. Anyone who is captured will be cut down and run through with the sword. Their little children will be dashed to death before their eyes. Their homes will be sacked and their wives will be raped. Look, I will stir up the Medes against Babylon, where right now you will see Iran in that area, right? They cannot be tempted by silver or bribed with gold. The attacking armies will shoot down the young men with arrows. They will have no mercy on helpless babes and will show no compassion for children. Babylon, the most glorious of kingdoms, the flower of the Chaldean pride, right? Remember what I said earlier? Esau is the new Chaldean, and his pride is reaching up to the heaven, will be devastated like Sodom and Gomorrah when God destroyed them. How? Babylon was not destroyed with fire like Sodom and Gomorrah. This is a prophecy going into this Babylon that's going to be destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah. And we're going to have levels on this, each wave, especially when you go into the Jacob's trouble. You're going to see a whole bunch of people eating their kids because it's going to be a huge famine. Yes, it's going to be a famine of the word, but when we get to that point of Jacob's trouble, it's going to be a famine of food. It's going to be hard to have food. Don't ever think that a kingdom is going to last forever, except for the kingdom of the heavenly fathers that is given to Yahushai, right? That kingdom, that good news, the kingdom of God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the heaven that's going to be on earth, ruled by Yahushai, under him, David, then the 12 and 144,000, right? And of course, the rest of Israel is going to be in a way higher stature than all the other nations, right? This is something you should desire, right? Hosea chapter 13, verse 16. See, this just goes back to just proving the other part of the northern kingdom area being desolate because of the Assyrian king. It says, Samaria shall become desolate, for she have rebelled against her God. They shall fall by the sword, and their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. Right? That just goes to back that up, showing it again, right? because there's multiple times where it's said, right? Because in especially when you look at the prophets, especially for the major and the minor prophets, when you go to First Kings, Second Kings, First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, the prophets were speaking during those times, right? But you get to hear their point, their side of the point in their own books, right? Because you had some prophets that was for Judah and some for the northern kingdom, right? But this is Deuteronomy 28, verse 7. It says, the Lord Yahweh shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. So they did flee against us. I mean, they did run after us. Guess what? It's going to happen again on this side, right? But and guess what? They're going to flee against you one way even more when it comes to that MOTB. But after all that is really ushered in, it's like things is going to be moving quick for the elect's sake. I can't really give you the time on it, but things are going to be moving quick for the elect's sake, right? What was it? It was another one I was thinking, against the, to be smitten before the face of the, oh yeah, okay. Let's get this other one. This is in the book of Baruch. This is the book of Baruch, the 4th chapter, in verse 25. It says, my children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from God. For thy enemy have persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and shall tread upon his neck. Right? This is why we must be patient waiting on the Lord, because we're going to see their destruction, right? And we're going to tread upon their necks. We have to suffer this wrath. You have to know, even though you could see them doing it, you just got the confirmation it's all the Lord. That's why you got to know nobody can do nothing to you unless the Lord gave them the notion that it was all through the Spirit. And if they're going to get it in that vessel, whatever anybody do to you, that was given notion in the Spirit. Right? Dropping down just so we close out. This is verse 31. It says, miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoiced at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons, for as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitudes, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. Will make it even fire, because Baruch was in around the time of Babylon. So even more, he was hearing Jeremiah prophesy these things. They was even going through the book of Isaiah, right? Or going through what Isaiah is saying too. But most of these things they were speaking on this Babylon, right? Sometimes it's twofold, but when this place really get destroyed, most of the things that they were speaking on the destruction, how miserable they're going to be, is really this one. Because even though the Babylonians that was ruling and they fell, that empire just was taken and was given to another person. The Lord set up kings and removed kings. But this time, they're going to totally fall and be miserable, right? Because now the power is coming back to those children, right? So she be grieved for her own desolation, for I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting. So this shows you this is a prophecy, because fire wasn't sent to Babylon. They didn't get destroyed by Babylon, let alone it says from the everlasting. Yahweh is the Ancient of Days. The everlasting is Yahweh Shai. Long to endure, she shall be inhabited of devils of it for a great time. Right? And O Jerusalem, looked about thee toward the east, and behold the joy that comes unto thee from God. right? And even when you go into like she shall be in habit of devils, you can go into, what is it, Malachi. Malachi, the first chapter, in the 4th verse. Let me see if this is the one. Right, no, verse 3, where it says, I hate Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, which goes into like serpents, goes into, a serpent is the devil too, but goes into like a reptile, a lizard, Komodo dragon, right? Because it's going to be animals. Let's see if we can get a precept real quick on that. Malachi 1 and 3. That's how desolate this place is going to be. This is Isaiah 34 verse 13 to 14. It says, and thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be an habitation of dragons and a court of owls. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow, and the screech owl also shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest, right? It's those wild beasts, Komodo dragons, lizards, shit, probably alligators, right? That's going to be eaten on that dwelling place, right? Jeremiah 51 and 37. Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment and hissing without an inhabitant, right? People aren't going to be living there. So that's not talking about the ancient or the great, the old ancient Babylon. It's talking about Babylon the Great on this side, daughter of Babylon on this side, the modern Babylon on this side, right? Lord willing, this is edifying. Lord willing, you can continue to have a beautiful sleep while you are watching the show. You know, a woman might be president, or Nero in the reincarnation might be president. You know, it's a beautiful thing to see. Is no peace. A beautiful thing. Laws is made up for the LGB 1, 2, 3, and don't forget the Z. You know, this is a blessing. But with that, I'm gonna say shalom. Lord willing, this is edifying to the whole full elect. Shalom.